Hello, welcome back to another lore episode for Arcana of Alsaria, and actually just the channel because we'll be rotating through and doing some interviews type stuff for Grasp of the Star. But it's been a while since we've done an interview, so I finally got, well, she was my last player to grab until we invited a new player, Deidre, to play with us. So this is Katie, and she plays Kirad. But
Rad the Mad.
has Rad the Mad as the title, and I think that's been accepted by everybody.
Even Ben.
Yeah.
Who refused to call me Rad.
Yes.
My entire time I've known him.
That is true. So I think we're catching him on board. So, Katie, let's start with a little bit about who you are, and what got you into D&D.
What did? Krista got me into D&D. Well, not really. Technically, I started playing D&D as a kid with Luke, the other player, who plays Ben, who's my brother, younger brother. And we played when we were, I have no clue how old we were. It was after 5th grade because we were at that house.
Okay.
So, after 5th grade, we played one small campaign, and I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luke just took everything over and was really bossy. He didn't let me make any decisions.
No?
And I got really mad, and so then every time they said they wanted to play, I said, no, I don't want to. And they couldn't play with
just the two.
So then they got mad because I wouldn't play, so then they couldn't play.
But you weren't making decisions, so...
Yeah.
Or wasn't allowed to make decisions.
Wasn't allowed to.
Okay.
So then when I told Luke about joining this one and everything, I was like, but you can't do it like when we were little. He's like, I know how to play now.
That's funny. Yeah, so Katie, you joined us in Campaign 1, and you played, I'm drawing the blank. Tasha Cloudberry, yeah.
Or Cloudy.
Yes. So you were one of the out-of-the-gate players with Campaign 1, and you're here also right out of the gate with Campaign 2. So you've been with us the whole time, including the start of the stream. So we're here to discuss, obviously, Rad the Mad. So tell us about the inspirations or ideas that you got initially to create Rad the Mad. Where did that come from? And then we'll get a little bit deeper with that.
Google.
Google?
I wanted to find a kind of a quirky character or not really, I don't know, something kind of weird.
Okay.
So I went with the half-orc Druid because I felt like that would be fun.
So was it the aspect of the fact that she's a half-orc, but then... you normally think
is very light and likes flowers and animals and butterflies and bunnies and
I think that makes a lot of sense for the quirky. And I think it's portrayed well when you we have my wife who plays Darling, and you two are best friends in real life, so you get the opportunity to play off each other with, and both the characters I think do play well off of each other. So when you started going through character creation, you chose the class Druid. Did you do a lot of research in that? Because I will say this, when we get to the interview about Swiftstone, I've been impressed with your builds in general of recent. So anytime I check your page, I'm like, wow, this is nicely built. So is that the same with?
It's honestly, for both of them really, it was just totally random.
Just random? You pick.
Same,
Pick what you think feels nice.
Yeah, what I think would be fun to do, and that I can understand easily.
Okay.
That's a big thing.
Yes.
I don't want things that are super, super complicated.
No, but you understand the class building of it looks like I'm not as familiar as I should be, but it looks like you're using your wisdom as your spell costing modifier. Yes. Okay. So you obviously know at least the base stats, what to attack to make the build work. Okay. Yeah. So in the campaign, we have the inn, and there's been plenty of items that have handed out. So you're already sitting at level 9, and you have the max stat of a wisdom of 20.
Yes.
I have the advantage of having your sheet up right now.
I probably have mine up too.
Yeah, so you can
actually know what things are.
As far as already hitting 20 in your wisdom stat, and knowing how campaign 1 went, and with the promises that I have campaign 2 to also get us to 20, what is your ambitions for that? Because I know there's, do you have like any ambitions for any items that you're looking for in the campaign?
Not really. Not items.
Okay.
Necessarily. I have a few that would be cool, but they're not. And I don't know them off the top of my head. I just have a little folder of.
What would you say is your favorite stats to be rolling in the game of D&D with Kirad?
With Kirad?
What checks do you enjoy when I call them out for you to?
I like doing any type of wisdom ones just because I feel like people don't expect her to have a high wisdom just based off of her personality. Like, she's very ditzy and gets lost and wanders off.
Yes.
But, like, she does have a high wisdom. So, like perception checks, I have a plus 13.
You do.
Which is so funny because she's so just like la-di-da, but really she is.
But it also bumps your survival skill, which is the main travel stat for,
so that
for you
one's
guys.
really nice too.
Yes.
But yeah.
So let's go into a little bit of history for you as the character's viewpoint. So obviously last session we left off with some stuff that was never really pre-discussed, because I feel like you've left it an open-ended statement, at least from my perspective. But from what you know prior to last session, how did Kirad come about?
She had some, like, this is kind of how I always saw her, as she, like, had some, her parents were young and adventurers and didn't really want a kid, and at some point when she was, like, still a baby, really little, they kind of found somebody else to take care of her, to have her, whether, I don't know how exactly, and then at some point she ended up in the Fae and was she kind of went from, like, group to group, person to person, and was constantly, like, shifting who she was with, and people would disappear, or she'd be passed along to other people. So it was just constant change all through growing up until she met Ben, when I don't remember how old she was when she met Ben.
Right.
We've discussed it a million times.
Yeah, you can also watch the Ben Laura, because
he knows my backstory sometimes better than I do. I'm like, I don't know how old I was.
Right.
Which
Details.
I think matches the character too.
Yes.
She's very.
I was young.
Yeah, at some point I met him. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then once he kind of came in, him and his wife kind of created that, like, structure, and for her, she never had, like, if somebody, if she got lost or something, she never really went and
It was
found
just a
them
long walk in the
because-
woods.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, okay, now I find new people. Like, she didn't think to go find these people because that's how it had been her whole life. And we had talked about, Luke and I had talked about, one of the first times she wandered off and Ben went home without her, and his wife was like, where is she? What did you do? Like, you have to go find her. And so he showed up, and she was like, wait, you're back for me? Like, what is this?
Okay.
And it took a while for her to finally be, like, expect to always be around.
Be found.
Somebody. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty neat. And so you joined the party with Ben on you got shipwrecked.
Yes.
Okay. And since this is a lore episode, tell us what Kirad remembers to kind of present. It can be quick. You can hit bullet points if it's all that.
Yeah, I think somebody came and found us and told us there was this meeting we had to go to or something.
It was Hungry, yeah.
Yeah, and so we got on the boat to go to the place. We got shipwrecked. I think there was, like, a fire and, like, tea and soup, and I just went right and started eating it.
I actually think because he had 3 names in the original, so I think your guys's was actually the me. So it's Hungry, Me, and Nut. And I think you guys were the me portion.
Because there was just food, and I just started eating, and then Ben kind of was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm suspicious of the soup.
And it was fine, and then we ended up at the place it was like a big arena, right? Or
Darkven. So actually, you recently re-entered Darkven.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so then we went there and got our mission.
But it was the Colosseum, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then you were tasked to find the different tomes. And so, how did that go for Kirid going from... was it a big transition in your mind as the player state to go from living in the city of humans, because Alara is where you guys would have presided, to them being on the road, to then all of a sudden having an inn that's back in a very big city space? Does that disrupt the Druid part for you?
I don't think so. I think going into it, she was very, like, this is what she's, like, she's constantly going on adventures with Ben. Like, his wife is, you know, you take care of Ben, and Ben doesn't like that.
Right.
And so she's used to the venturing. I think having the inn was probably the biggest, like, weird thing for her, because she's used to always, like, yeah, once she kind of got into Ben and his wife's life, she had that as, like, the home that she always goes to then.
Yeah.
But she's so used to not really having a place of her own necessarily. So the inn, like, she's done a lot in the inn with, you know, like, cooking and learning the ins and outs of the kitchen and
even the tavern.
The tavern and stuff, because it's something new to her. Like, she's never had that. So
right.
It's exciting to actually have people to talk to all the time and people in and out.
Does she enjoy the tavern folk coming in and out? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So moving forward, you guys, the tomes were stolen, and then there was an end battle to part 1 that released the dragons. What's your thought process on that from Kirad's standpoint? Is she intrigued by dragons? Is it dangerous? Is it?
I think she's definitely intrigued, not nearly as much as Darling is.
Yeah.
But I think she's interested in them and wants to see what happens with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, but she's not necessarily wanting to learn all about them and
learn the speech or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
She doesn't want to fight them. She would rather be friends with them.
Yes. So, and then moving a little bit further, kind of catching up to where we're at, how does she feel about having a sword that can speak to her?
She's very unsure about it.
Okay.
I mean, she thinks it's really cool. It's really interesting. She has someone to talk to all the time now.
Yes.
Which we haven't really done much with that, but like, it's always there. She could always talk to someone. But it's also kind of weird, and it's not. Normally she's talking to the animals, but now she has this, like, physical thing.
Yeah, inanimate object that can
her.
also speak to her.
Yeah.
So, as a player, not necessarily Kirad, do you find yourself using the sword very often?
I do.
Okay.
Actually, that's one of the. If I use a weapon, that's normally the weapon.
That's
my
the
go-to weapon.
Okay.
Because it's one of my best ones.
You have a +4 to your hit DC, and then it does a 1d8 in its current
cool.
plus. Yes, plus.
So I think it's my high. If I would get max damage, it's my highest damage weapon.
Right, because it also adds. It adds different lightning damage to stuff and all that, and as you're using it, higher levels are achieved. So, cool. And then, how did she feel about this most recent session where everybody had the dreams? Obviously, Kira didn't see the other dreams like everybody gets to hear, but how was that for you?
I think she probably really hated it, because I think once, you know, things kind of got normal with Ben and his wife, she kind of started to block out all those old, because it was just chaos growing up, like being passed around, and so she kind of started blocking those out and relearning things, and so having that brought up is, like, a lot.
Okay, so next question, are you ready to be traumatized in the coming sessions? No? It's about your turn.
I know, I've been waiting. It's coming.
Yep. So I will admit I tried to add something in here so the other players get a chance, but that was definitely hooked to Drive because I felt like I hadn't had a great something to snag Curad until recently, and that was kind of the first big introduction to things to come. Yeah. So, as a druid, we're doing good on time, but we're gonna ask a little bit more technical questions now, in the sense of, as a druid, what would you say? Two different kind of questions here. As a druid, what would you say are the top 3 must spells?
Ooh, I just found my spells.
Okay.
Oh, wait, is that on this one? I keep getting my new favorite spell, absolute favorite spell, is Confusion.
Confusion.
I just have to say.
You even called me out on it when the last session.
When I figured out Confusion, I was like, this is the best, because it's anyone within, like, multiple people. I don't know. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. So the spell assaults and twists the creature's mind, spawning delusions, provoking uncontrolled action. Each creature in a 10-foot radius, centered on a point you choose within range, must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, which is high.
And it's 18. Yeah, it's high.
So if they're not, wise at least a little bit, then odds are they're going to get confused. So.
Like if it was me, I'd... No.
Yeah, exactly. So is that number 1 right now?
Right now, that's my favorite.
Okay.
I am really loving.
How about 2 other musts that you think?
Sorry, I just saw a spell I've never seen. I guess I don't scroll down. Ooh,
Oh.
what did I do? That? It's with the Sword of Sparks.
Yes.
I hadn't seen that.
Yes.
Okay, well, now I'm going to have to look at that. Let's see. What else? I like Moonbeam. Moonbeam is a favorite.
Yes. I like the mechanic of Moonbeam, and it is a good damage dealer, which will lead to follow-up questions. So.
Yeah, it's good for damage, and it's, because you can move it where you want it. I really like that one.
And third?
Does that include spells like Wild Companion, Wild Shape?
Yeah, I would say for a druid.
I love Wild Companion. Okay. I normally don't use my Wild Shape and Change.
No, you don't.
I rarely do.
Yeah.
I normally always have a companion come instead, which is normally a wolf, depending on.
And is that action right there? Okay.
Yeah, it's an action.
Yeah.
And I use that way more than actually changing myself, mainly because I like all the stuff I can do as myself.
Yes.
So I think Wild Companion is probably top 2. Yeah. Also.
The top 3. So with the different spells and then obviously actions like Wild Companion, does that make you feel like you're well balanced in combat situations? Because I noticed that prior to having a cleric, you were kind of a pseudo-designated healer without, just players being cognizant that they should carry potions.
Yeah. Well, I have a ton of healing spells, but I would much rather use... Moonbeam. Yeah, all these spells that actually... But we normally, we didn't really have any healing stuff, so I ended up healing a lot, doing a lot of that. Because I have, lesser restoration and cure wounds and all those.
Do you think that will change for you dynamically, or will you keep spells like the healing just for mechanics, just in case the cleric?
Yeah, I think I'll probably still keep them. I think, especially when, Ben is down, I would, or even Darling, I'd be very willing to do healing, because they're probably my 2 that I'm I can't lose them.
So what is Curad's or Rad the Mad's thing about jumping right into the middle of things and then almost getting down almost the last 3 to 5 combats that we've done?
I just want to talk to animals, and I don't get to talk to them because then they just hit me instead.
Well, I mean, you did try to talk to a giant spider, which...
I really wanted to talk to the spider, and instead it almost killed me.
Yeah, so I don't... Has there been round 1 I dropped you, though? Because you have mechanically, for lore, I keep the player's health at a minimum. I think you're above the threshold, so it's 7 times.
I'm at 75.
Yeah, you're at 75, so I'd have to look at the list again, but...
No, I don't know. It's been a lot lately going down. I feel like before I didn't go down that often, but I don't know.
So jumping into it's just a mechanic of the whimsidaisical...
Mm-hmm. I think it's there's something to do. Here I am.
Right into it. So you're not a barbarian, so you're not just rushing in there because you want to attack them, but you're in there because you're curious, and then things happen.
Yeah, I'm curious, and then they hit me, and then I'm like, oh, well, I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean you're big and strong too, so you can smack back.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about a feature or trait or spell I might not know about mechanically that you might use. Like, is there something that you've done that you would like to explain to viewers, whether that's totems? I do know about that.
I was gonna say that was another like high mention was the totem.
Mm-hmm.
That helps out so much. I almost always like as soon as something starts, I get a wild companion and cast my totem as a bonus action, just as my initial thing, because they're both just so helpful. Like the spirit totem. Yes. Because there's 3 different things you can do, which I do need to. There's one that I never use because I feel like I just don't know it as well. I think it's the unicorn one that I never used.
Yeah.
But
no, because I read the 2, and bear adds hit points.
Mm-hmm. I use that one a lot.
Hawk gains
Hawk
advantage.
Is the one that I don't use very often. It's because unicorn is the healing one, right?
No, bear.
It restores hit points. If you cast a spell using a spell slot, that restores hit
Right,
points.
you do use that one, especially when you were kind of the
When
cleric.
we're all really low, then I'll do that one.
Yes.
And then I will cast all those healing spells because then everyone, even if I just do it to one person, everyone then gets some healing.
Okay.
Every time. So I love that one.
Right. Is there any other mechanic, like a feature or trait? Have you picked up any feats, or have you all been, as you've leveled up, have you dumped it into stats?
I think it's mainly been the stat. I only have 1 feat, and it's skill expert, and it's survival, perception, and wisdom.
Yes.
So that's why all of those are so high.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only feat I have. So the rest have all been put into.
Just talking about the race now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been enjoying the half orc? I mean, you get some natural dark vision.
Mm-hmm. Dark vision, menacing. Relentless endurance has been helpful. I don't think I always remember to use it.
Right.
But
that's part of what this is too, is both of us to look at it, and then maybe I can remind you if I'm like, okay.
And then also savage attacks. I don't ever use that.
You probably should.
I've never used that. That's really nice.
Hey, stream, next time you see Katie or Rad the Mad roll a critical hit, she's supposed to roll an extra attack dice. So, there's that.
Yeah, I have not used that at all.
And so you are a Fey Lost, which ties in exactly how you were talking about your memory. And so just for mechanics for the stream, Fey Lost is a Feywild connection. Your mannerisms and knowledge of Fey customs are recognized by natives of the Feywild. You are seen as one of their own. Because of this, friendly Fey creatures are inclined to come to your aid if you're lost or need help in the Feywild, which makes a lot of sense why Darling and Kirad are also friends, because Darling is from the Fey, at least as far as we know.
And when I met her, she was a bunny, so it was like was like instantly, this is my best friend.
Yeah, best friend.
Yeah.
Empathy, you have ideals. Empathy, no creature should be made to suffer. Does that ring true? Mm-hmm. Still?
Yep.
Wanderlust, for the less path, I'd say that's where your chaotic comes in.
Yep.
Your bonds are a trusted friend is the most important thing in the multiverse to you. Mm-hmm. And flaws, you're forgetful. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. High wisdom, your intelligence isn't bad.
No.
And actually, it's surprising looking at it. Like, roleplay, I love how you're playing the character. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'm not saying this as a critique at all. But it's interesting. I would have thought you would have had higher charisma than you do.
And
that was probably an 8, and it probably got bumped in a mechanic from
Yeah, and
N.
I think that's something, if I went back, I would probably bring my charisma, do that as one of my higher ones based off of.
Well, I really like how you have it, to be honest. Wisdom, because that's going to be your main attack.
Mm-hmm.
Your secondary almost looks like it was Constitution originally.
Yeah, but dexterity's gotten up there.
Dexterity is what's helped pump both your initiative. You have a +3
Mm-hmm.
to initiative, and then you have a 17 armor class, so I'm assuming you're wearing some sort of medium armor.
Yeah.
And then you have, I think, the highest passive perception in the group, maybe only rivaled by Ben and Luke brother, which also makes sense for his build.
No, I have light armor. I just have studded leather on.
Well, okay. Light armor should also provide the same. Let's see here. Where is your armor? Studded armor. Oh yeah, so you're getting. Its armor class is only 12, but you have a modifier on that helps it with a +3, and then something else must be bumping you up. Is it?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Ring of Protection. There you go. Ring of Protection is on.
It's not attuned.
Oh.
Let me look. Do I have it?
We'd have to look into it more, but I don't think it's too bad at this point. Everybody, if you were still below a 14 on an armor class, it'd be hard to stay up in some of the combats. Any other things that you want to mention about Curad that are interesting that you think people should know?
I don't think so. You know what she hasn't used in well, I feel like we need an honorable mention for her her talking doll.
Oh yes, it has made its way quite a bit into
We have not
roleplay.
used it recently.
No.
No, but we have a new party member.
Yes.
Oh, we haven't used it on the new party member.
And then
Man.
I just saw you did actually put some notes in here. So you're mage level 1 and you're a fighters guild level 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some guilds that you're in. Oh, you have a shield on somewhere.
Oh.
Armor class 12, dexterity bonus +3, shield +2.
Carrying a shield this whole time. Ding dong.
Yep, there it is,
I don't
equipped
even
right
know
there.
where is it?
It's down next to you, Yiclaw.
Oh, that's not where it is on mine.
Okay, so to wrap up the last little bit here, to be kind of right on par for the stream length that I like for the lore, is what are you expecting out of the campaign for Curad moving forward as we're approaching the end of part 2?
Probably just to be more trusting in her party mates, because it took her so long to be trusting of Ben and his wife, so it does take her a while.
Mm-hmm. And it's only been a couple months canonically.
Yeah, so she really while she likes being with all of them, she has no faith in them sticking around, especially since we've lost some party mates.
Yes.
So she really doesn't have a lot of faith in them sticking around.
Right.
So probably just being more trusting and going on more adventures and having fun.
Plenty of adventures to come, and
finding some more flowers. She does have, I guess we didn't mention, she has her, she has a staff that she can put
Creates flowers.
Which I haven't mentioned
no,
lately.
but
I used to use that.
the artwork that I provide in the stream also shows flowers in the hair and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Well, thank you, Katie, for taking the time to let me interview. It was pleasant, and we're gonna probably grab Deidre next, and then it will be on to the Grasp of the Starved. So you'll get another round here shortly. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your night.